This is the final video in my 5-part series about how we survived the Texas power outage with our preps. And I'm going to be talking about what we learned and what some of you taught me. And you know, this was never about bragging. This video is about showing how our preps really did help us, so that we inspire others to prepare for this kind of thing, because this isn't the last time. Now, before I get into that, I've got little notes here. Before I get into it, I need to clarify something about the freezer. A lot of people made comments about taking my stuff out. Why did I use a generator? Why don't you take the stuff and go put it out in the snow? You know, and no, I'm not going to do that. And so I need to explain a little bit more. I think I wasn't clear. Maybe, I don't know. This is a 3.5 cubic foot deep freeze. I keep it around -10 to -15 degrees Fahrenheit. It's part of my preps. I mean, the whole bottom part is full of meat that should last us, along with other preps, for 6 months. If you check out my video about my food preps, you'll see how I incorporate this in, or I would plan to. And in order to keep meat indefinitely, or for years, it needs to stay at a pretty constant temperature. And so I don't want to throw it on the snow and have that fluctuate. It still will be, if it stays frozen, it'll still be good for you, but it won't taste as good possibly, and the texture will be kind of off. So this is long-term prep. I'm not even touching unless I need to. On the top part, we have bread, we have milk, we have chicken and hamburger that we rotate on a monthly basis, or sometimes every other day. You know, after we use some of it, in a week we might buy some more, and we just rotate it out. So it's used, and the most important part is this: on average, it uses 35 watts per hour, so 35 watt hours. And my Delta 1300 generator, solar power generator, it has a capacity of 1300 watts, but really only about 1,000 usable watts. And so, in fact, check out this video right here. It'll probably surprise you. It's a review on the Delta, but I put it up like 8 months ago, and it focuses on how to manage the power in a power outage, and it's exactly what we did. It's just a major coincidence. Anyway, it's 1,000 usable watts. Why wouldn't I want to use the freezer? And we're talking 35 watts out of 1,000 watts. It's not a big deal. I also have another 1,500 watts in a battery next to it that I could use. So there's no reason not to keep it running. And I took some of the frozen food out of the refrigerator and put it in there. Not much, because there wasn't a lot of room. And then also the refrigerator, we put it in an ice box and put it out or outside to stay cool. So I thought I'd give you a peek into our freezer real quick. This is what we rotate out on a regular basis. It's only -12 degrees right now because I opened it up a little while ago. Anyway, these are measured out hamburger, chicken. We have our bread down here and some other things. And below all that is the long-term storage. This is what we rotate out and eat on a regular basis. This is where this is where we got our meat from over the course of the time when the power was out, and we barbecue it and so on. So what do we learn? Well, I learned that from some of you that when we let the water drip, why not collect that and use it for other things, for hand washing, for dishwashing, whatever. But also to put it in containers, put it outside, let it freeze, and put it back into your refrigerator as ice to keep it cool. I thought that was a good idea. I learned from some of you about laundry and about different ways to do laundry. I don't have that for my preps, and I really appreciate some of those comments. I also learned that to fill both bathtubs up next time. Now, we didn't even use all the water in one bathtub, but it went down pretty fast, and I didn't think we were using that much. So yeah, both bathtubs get full next time. I learned that there was a lot of benefit to offering water and food to some of my neighbors. They did the same thing back. It's not giving away that I have preps. They don't have a clue. I mean, they're offering me water, and I have plenty. So one of the biggest things I got out of it was we started then checking in on each other, and that is really satisfying or comforting, because you feel isolated. we already do from COVID. So that was a real benefit. The ham radio, I got to use it for the first time in an emergency situation where I got to learn, communicate and get information. I learned how to play Yahtzee, and so also other games, we have puzzles and things like that. A big deal is we learned to stay on top of everything. So in other words, when the power was out, we planned on what to do when the power comes back on ahead of time. So we'd utilize the time we had. Same thing with water. When the water is off, we'd plan on what to do if the water comes back. Take advantage of when you have the resources and have it planned already what you're going to do. If you're older like me, especially, be careful not to hurt yourself. I have a bad back, and you're going to be lifting more probably in situations like this. I would put the back brace on, even if my back's not bad at the moment, just to remind me that I have a bad back. We'd exercise. Oh, another thing was different is we boil the water to 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and then, for taking the shower or doing dishes or whatever. And it never occurred to me that once you're done, you have to let it cool off. But how much you let it cool off? You're not going to dip your finger in to find out if it's cooled off enough. You're going to burn your finger. So you need a thermometer. And we learned that we prefer between 100 and 108 degrees. Never knew that before. We taped the door, the cracks around the door. You might have seen that in one of the videos, the blue tape, to insulate. I learned that I wanted longer solar cables. I think that's about it. So be sure to check out the review I have on this freezer also. And if I forgot anything, I'm going to add more links up here. So be sure to go to those this time, because during the last few videos wasn't a time to educate or talk about the specifics on the things I have, really not details. And but I have plenty of videos that talk about that. So if I had links up here, I suggest please check them out. All right, so it's time to get back to normal again. So the crisis is pretty much over, and now we are putting things away. All right, so we brought the solar panels in, and brought in 5 of the 6 containers that were in the house. These 3 are still full. These 2 are empty, and we're still using the one in there to wash our hands just to finish it up. Bathtub's empty. Extension cables put away. And it's time to replenish the bottled water that we used. We're going to go ahead and rotate these out and fill it all up again. Look at this. No snow. Okay, so now I'm going to feed my sourdough starter and make some sourdough bread. Well, on a happier note, I had time again to make a delicious loaf of sourdough bread. To me, it's one of the best leavened survival breads because it only requires flour, water, and salt. Want to give it a try? Check out my link above. Thanks for watching, and share and like if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any videos. This is really tasty bread.